Hey guys, Captain Matt here with Marathon Sport Fishing. Obviously you can see I've got the dive flag waving back in the back of the boat. Dive gears on the back of the Falcon ready to go in. So, all right guys, here we go. First dive in the Maine lobster season. We're a couple days into it here. And I'm going to go out and try to catch a couple bugs for dinner. So grab your life jackets and hang on, and welcome aboard. I just kind of waited a few days after the opener because we had the storm blow around and the water looked like chocolate milk. Hard to see them in that. So today is the 10th, so 4 days after the official opener, and we're just out on a patch reef here. We're going to tear it up, see what we can find. All right, guys, I dropped down. Got a nice little hole here, but there's this big puffer fish. He's hanging out right in the hole. I'm just trying to coax him out a little bit so I can get a better look back in there. I thought I seen a lobster in there or an antenna, but it wasn't. It was a weed sticking out. So I'm just kind of cruising around, taking a good look at my surroundings here. As you can see, there's a lot of shorter coral here on the patch reefs. A lot of places for them to hide. As I'm going along, I run into the shell of a lobster. So this one had just molted. You can see there's no legs in it. The shell's hollow. So when you find that laying there, guys, you can see where he backed out underneath that shell. He's growing his new shell right now. But when you find those laying on the bottom, that's where the lobster molted. So when I'm lobstering, I'm very rarely looking for a whole lobster. You see the tip of that antenna sticking out there? That's what I'm looking for, guys, right there. Just that tip of the antenna. And now as I get around on him, you can see him up underneath there. And you see how easy you just take the tickle stick, slide it up underneath them, and tickle them a little bit, and they'll shoot out of there. They don't like it when something gets in the hole or up underneath the ledge with them. So once I catch them, you can see I floated up off the top of the reef here. I'm about 5-6 feet up, just where I'm not bumping into anything. So I just kind of take my time, measure him. This guy's solid. That's how you measure a lobster right there. You cannot slide over the back of the capers there. So I'm gonna pop him in the bag. He's the first one going in. So I hadn't dove this spot in a while, and I probably went 15 minutes before I found a lobster. I seen that molted shell right when I first started, but I went a long ways before I even seen one. Okay, guys, as soon as I got him in the bag and picked my gear back up, I look over and I see another ledge, and there's another one in there. Now, with your tickle stick, you want to just slide it in, get underneath them, and gently bump them out. See how easy I slid him right out of the hole. Now I slid the stick over the top of the net to stop the lobster from getting out. This one is a female. She's got eggs. So when I get them in the net, I get up off the coral a little bit. Any other time, they'd be out of there in 2 seconds. She's a little hung up in there. Usually they'll just pop themselves out. She's got it kind of on the back of her shell and over the horn at the same time. So I'm just trying to get it off the side of her shell so she can get out of there and go back in. Just taking an extra second or two. You don't want to have her get injured because she's carrying a lot of new baby lobsters under that tail right now. Okay, this is like a couple minutes later. I'm within 20 feet of where I caught the last one. When you start getting into them, guys, if you're deeper like this or even shallow, if you start finding one of them, there's not going to be just one. The lobsters are very gregarious, so you got to really start paying attention when you start getting into them. These guys were tucked underneath the ledge pretty good there. I was down right next to the bottom looking up underneath there when I saw it. Okay, so I got him measured up in the bag, collected all my toys again, just kind of looking around. Like I said, if there's one there, there's going to be more there somewhere. So I'm looking around, and I spot another one here right away. Again, you got to really look up underneath, guys. I'm looking for the tip of that antenna. That's normally what I'm looking for. If you're looking for a whole lobster, you're going to miss them half the time. This guy, he's in a ledge that comes out the backside as well. He's having none of it. He did not want to come out the front of the ledge, so I'm just going to give him a little tickle, try to get him out the backside here. Sometimes you got to do that. When you're sticking your hand that close in, one, I'm looking to make sure there's no moray eel in there. I've got bit one time, that was enough. So I'm just kind of tapping him to get him to come out the back. And if you watch like the little convict tangs, they're giving him away. They're kind of scurrying around him, swimming around him as he's coming out the backside. So I knew he was coming out. So I'm trying to get him situated and grab him here without. I don't like to just pile on him where you can injure him. I want to be able to just kind of catch him and measure him. Okay, so I'm measuring him up here. I know he's pretty close. I get the gauge on him, and this one's actually just a little bit short, so I let him go. All right, I look over, seen another one. He's up on the ledge a little bit here. He's not down underneath it. He's up midway in the coral. So again, I'm checking for moray eels, make sure there's nobody in there I don't want to play with. You see how I just got that tickle stick slid right underneath him and out he came. There he goes, pops right out of the net. They can do that real easy most of the time. So you see me grab the net and spin it there. That wrapped him in the bag of the net, and then I was able to get a hold of him with my hands. So now I'm just kind of getting settled in, make sure I'm not bumping into anything, checking what else is around my surroundings. Just going to get him measured up. So you guys heard that squeaking noise. They move their antenna and they can squeak it on the top of their head. And I don't know if it's a warning or if it's a threat or what he's trying to communicate there. But a lot of times if they're doing that, you'll see other lobsters will kind of pull out of the hole a little bit and take a look around and see what's going on. So you want to be alert for that when they're making that squeaking sound. So as I was going along, I seen the elbow of that crab arm, and I was just going to poke him. He was an ornery little bugger, so I was going to play with him a little bit here, get him out, take a look, see how big he is. But they are pretty quick, and when they get a hold of you, it's smart. So you don't want one of them to grab you with their claws. All right, guys, pay close attention to this one. He's way up in there. Now, you see he's got both antennas forward. What that tells me is there's nothing behind him. If he has one antenna forward and one back, there's something behind him, and typically it's an eel. So that's something I'm always watching for when I'm digging them out underneath those bigger ledges that tuck in like that one did there. All right, guys, here we go. We caught a couple lobsters the other day. I froze them up, and even when you catch them when they're fresh, I still like to freeze them a little bit, or just so you get the shell frozen, because they come out of it a lot easier. But so I'm going to show you what we got shaking here tonight. First of all, diced up a bunch of potatoes here. We're going homemade French fries. So I took and sliced them up, peeled and sliced. I've got 3 lobster tails. I'm going to do lobster bites. I'm going to put a little Louisiana seasoned fish fry on them, and I'm going to grill a lemon as well. So I'm going to show you guys how I clean the lobster. I got a lot of people that ask, what do you mean you fillet off the exoskeleton? So I'm going to get this going here. Today's mandatory cocktail is a Florida can of 4-year and a Coke with a slice of lime. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys how I clean one. So with the lobsters, when I freeze them, I just roll them up like a baked potato in aluminum foil. They freeze up, well, excellent. Well, you guys are going to see right here. Absolutely perfect. There's 0 freezer burn on that. He's been in the freezer a couple weeks. 0 on that lobster. You just roll them into a little ball like that. Make sure they're wrapped nice and tight with the aluminum foil. And that's it. It doesn't get any easier than that. So with the lobster tail, we're going to crack it open. This one's a male. So you want 2 knives. First of all, you're going to want a nice heavy knife. Second, you want like a fillet knife. And third, you're going to want a fork. So you take your large knife. I come in from the second to back vertebrae here. And if it's not a vertebrae, I'm sure somebody will correct me on it. But I come in from the second to the back and just crack through them, right? That splits the lobster. You can split them right in half like that, nice and easy. Now I'm going to peel them out of the shell with the fork. Guys, you see how I just barely touched it. It came right out. See that? That's from couple things. 1, I put them in ice water before I clean them initially, and 2, when you freeze them. It just pops them right out of the shell. Boom, done. Toss that guy. So what I'm going to do now, I'll split them in half here. I'm going to fillet off the exoskeleton. This membrane on the outside of the lobster here, you can see as I'm pulling on it, I'm really torquing on this thing. I got 20 pounds of pulling. It's super stretchy. That's what makes your lobster chewy. So what that actually is the new shell that's starting to form for the lobster. So once you crack them in half, I just take them, and I'm doing bites here. So I'm going to be dicing the lobster up and deep frying it. So I'm going to do, and I kind of go through the membrane. You see the membrane, or the muscle separation, we'll call it right here. I'm going to do about half and half with it. It's going to go down, and I'm going to fillet the exoskeleton off. Got to kind of grab it with your fingernail, just take a little slice, boom, done. So I do that on every lobster. That's how I clean them. So every time I clean one, if I'm taking this particular lobster, let's say I want to grill it, I pull it out just like this, I fillet off the exoskeleton off the back. I take the whole piece from like here and fillet forward, and I'll lay it back in the shell and just leave it in there about 10 minutes before you grill it. You guys, it'll stay right in the shell. You put it down, meat side down first, or you can do the other side down first. It doesn't matter, but it will stay in the shell. I typically go meat side first. So that's how I clean my lobster. I think you'll find your lobster's gonna be, I would say, about twice as good eating when you do it this way
versus leaving that membrane on, because it's chewy, it's stretchy, and probably what most people don't like about the Florida lobster is that membrane. But taking it off just takes a minute, and it makes your dish a whole lot better. All right, guys, got the lobster all kind of diced up. I was thinking about doing an egg wash with them, but I just did a little sample right here. I just stuck that in the batter, and as you can see, it's totally fine. So I'm gonna just take each piece, roll it. I like using a round bowl, so then, you know, with small stuff like this, you can just roll it around in there easy. It's not gonna get stuck on the side. You want each piece nice and coated. And just being lobster is not like, it's not like a fish where you have a solid connective piece. It's a little more pliable. So we're gonna coat them all up here. I'm gonna set them in that bowl. And I like to take, you know, you can cook them right away in the fryer, but I like to give that, if it sits there 20 minutes or so, the protein really binds that breading onto the lobster really well. And it's the same way with fish, guys. If you give it a little bit of time, once you got the batter on there, it'll stick to it a lot better once you cook it. Here we go, just hanging out. Falcon's sitting here on her roost. Got a couple of the pool chairs, the pool here. Miss Tamara's burning around with a glass, sneaking around with a glass of wine back there. So slowly, these are obviously working components here for the boat. Slowly getting everything put together down here. So it's a big process. Moving's one thing, but when you're moving an entire boat, tackle shop, your YouTube stuff, that's like a whole separate thing to move. So here's what I got going tonight. I got the Lobster Bites in the fridge, chilling, letting them bind nice and tight to the batter. I got a new Tfal here, guys. I had a different one on the other video we did the Mahi Bites on. The cord on it was goofed up, so I sent it back. I'm like, all right. Started looking again. This thing I've used one time, but it's off the chart. It's got an actual oil pan underneath it, so after you cook it, you can drain the oil, it filters it, you pull the whole inside pan out and clean it. Very simple to use. Strains the oil, easy to use. It's a little bit larger. It's perfect for, you know, I'd say 3 to 8 people. So the fries are going to get done first. I've got the grill going right now. We're at right there. The grill's at 250. I'm going to keep it right about that temperature. If it gets hotter, I'm going to open this side. This side is a pellet grill. This side's gas. So I'm going to keep, I got one burner on low. Just once I pull the fries out, they're going to go back into this pan over here and sit in the grill to keep them hot and let the grease drain out. I've got a whole bunch of extra paper towels that the grease will drain out on. So that's kind of the process. The deep fryer right now is just got the temperature, so I'm going to start cracking on it here. All right, guys, I'm going to start dropping the fries in here. With the fries, I'm going to pull the basket up, put them in the basket first, and then put them in. When I'm dropping lobster or fish, I sink the basket and drop them in gradually, one at a time. That way they don't stick to the basket. The fries will not stick to the basket. So these are pretty good sized cut fries. I'm gonna probably down them here for about, I'm gonna go like, you kind of want to watch them. It's gonna go 5 to 7 minutes, somewhere in that time frame. Pull them up, let them cool off, and then drop them again. So get the rest of them in here. Again, you see how they're very dry now. I've had them sitting on these paper towels for a while. You do not want to put them in there wet. So, all right, off and down in the batch. Gonna let that roll here, like I said, 5 to 7 minutes. I'm gonna raise them, let them cool off after 5 to 7. Give them about 2 minutes out of the oil, then drop them back down for another 5 to 7. Then they're gonna go in here on the pan. So we're gonna get that guy in there set up. I've got the half a lemon in here as well. The lemon's on the burner that I've got running. It's just warming up. I'll bring you in on this here, see what's shaking. So once they start floating like that, they're about done. I'm just giving them a little extra crisp. Got a little Morton kosher salt. Gonna dust them a little bit with. My temperature's at 255, 260, borderline a little hot. So what I've got here is I've got a smoker side and a gas side. I'm going to open the vent in between just to let some of the heat dissipate between the two units. And I'm going to dump them in there in about another minute. See, now they're getting a little brown. All right, I'm going to grab these, pull them out, and let them drain, drop them in the pan here on top of the paper towels. We're gonna drop them on there and let them set up. Pulled the Lobster Bites out of the fridge. You can see that, shake it. I put a little extra breading on the top of them, just a little bit to suck any extra moisture out just in case. But yeah, they're looking perfect. So I've got the basket down in the fryer. So we're gonna drop these. I'm gonna try to go from big to small. You don't wanna set them in the basket and lower it, but you gotta be real careful when you're doing this program. The Lobster Bites, they're getting close to done here. Once they're all floating, they're pretty much done. There you have it. The French fries, absolutely amazing. I've been sampling them. I'd say light and crispy is probably, versus soggy and greasy, they're light and crispy. The lobster, I'm gonna give it a little lemon. You see how charred that lemon is? Oh, that bad boy's probably 250 degrees. Give it just a little spritz. When you put your lemon on the grill, you guys have seen this on my other videos. When you put the lemon on the grill, it gives it a unique flavor. It turbocharges. I mean, it's just like a turbocharging that lemon. It's just absolutely amazing what happens to it. We're going to give her a shot right here. That's really good. So that was what, Louisiana style? It's basically a cornmeal batter on it. Very nice and light batter. The flavor of the lobster is very pronounced.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in on today's video. I hope you learned something on it. I love lobstering. Obviously, I'm pretty good at getting them little buggers out of the hole. If you haven't had a chance yet, please smash that subscribe button. A lot of my videos, I've got like 10 times the number of viewers as subscribers. Please smash that button when you get a chance. If you have any questions or comments on today's video or something else you guys would like to see, the recent video I just did on finding birds with radar, I had multiple people ask me how I do that and if I do a video on it. So if you guys got something you want to see, I do listen to all your comments. Captain Matt, Marathon Sport Fishing, signing off for today.